Let's get started. All right. Today we're going to talk about another book on my series of filling out the shelves. The first book today the only book today rather, is going to be Detective Runewall Uncut Gems by B.T. Frost. So this is kind of a neat cover. This is sort of looks like a watercolor and a starburst sort of background. I like the almost Dresden Files-esque shadowy character in the center. It's kind of like most of the urban fantasy books. It sort of wraps around. Let's read the blurb, shall we? With dedication and hard work, Joseph Runewall has managed to graduate from a blue coat to a detective. Despite his preparations and arcane powers, his first day on the job proves to be overwhelmingly confusing, chaotic, and dangerous. If he can't pull it all together and solve his first case, his career as a detective may be the shortest in the history of Storm Bay law enforcement. All right, let's dig in here. Let's take a quick look at it. All right, nicely clean, well laid out. We'll jump right into that first chapter. Chapter 1. Joe checked himself in the square mirror hanging on the back of the door, then adjusted his hair with a comb. Appearing untidy on the first day as a detective was not an acceptable impression he wanted to leave with the captain. After assuring that his appearance was fit enough, he shrugged on his blue coat for hopefully the final time in his career. A snap of the fingers caused the wide brim to bounce off the coat rack in the corner and lazily flip through the air to land on top of his ears. While technically forbidden from utilizing magic while in service as an officer of the law, he wasn't exactly on duty at the moment. He checked the 6-shooter in the holster under his left arm, then nodded to the reflection in the mirror. Joe unlocked the door and swung it open so that he might head out and begin the day. The fates were unkind and heartless as the crow stood on the other side of the door. She tapped her foot in apparent impatience. Elizabeth Belcrux was warm-blooded as a bucket of ice. She was buttoned from head to toe in a straight and outdated black wool dress like some eternal widow. As far as he was aware, she had never married. The domicile in which he had taken residence seemed to emanate her persona with its drab and lifeless color palette. The wallpaper was a dull brown and gray stripe, and it continued on without any hint of whimsical pattern or design for flair. The floorboards looked as though they hadn't been stained or oiled in decades, and the trim and cabinetry looked just as parched and lifeless. Her fingers were intertwined before her like some disapproving and grim superior. "Joseph," she said with such a sneer of vitriol one would think he had just spat on her shoes. "Where are you going?" One ebony and silver eyebrow cocked in such a way as to suggest the question was rhetorical. Joe didn't have time to play her mind games or subject himself to her abusive verbosities. "Excuse me, Miss Belcrux, but I can't be late for work." In an attempted diplomatic gesture, he lifted his hat and lowered his eyes while attempting to sidestep her. The overly strict landlady headed him off, and her leather boots clapped into his intended escape route. "You will stand your ground until you answer my question, Joseph." Again, she always seemed to spit his name out. "So we're going to spar again today, are we?" Cool. I like it. It's got a good opener. We got a feel for our individual, very descriptive background. Not a place I would want to live, but I think it'll be a fun read. So I've concluded the link to this below. You can go grab it on Amazon. Of course, I believe it's both in ebook and paperback. I'll get this one on the list and then up on the shelf, and we'll keep going. I hope you enjoy it, and happy reading.